Mr. Prospect, when we were talking earlier about your retiring, and you told me that you wanted to retire at age 65, right? And you said that in order to generate the $75,000 a year that you wanted, that you needed in order to generate the $50,000 of income that you needed after taxes, that you need to have, what do we say, 1.5 million?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now I asked you, back then, currently with what you're doing, what's the likelihood of you having 1.5 million in the bank?
Pretty slim.
Pretty slim. All right. Now, when you retire, what's more important? The amount of money that you've accumulated or the amount of income that you get to spend?
Amount of income.
Yeah? Okay. Now, if we think about that, if we didn't have to pay taxes on the money, all right, how much money would we have to have in order to generate $50,000 a year?
$1 million.
$1 million. Is $1 million more attainable than 1.5 million?
Sure.
Yeah. So if we could find a vehicle that we could put the money in that you're going to save and be able to get it out tax-free at the end, how much better off would you be?
$500,000 better off.
Yeah, make it a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Sure.
Would you like to be able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about here? Basically, we're talking about life insurance. That's the big advantage of life insurance, is that it grows tax deferred and that you get the money out tax free at the end. Now, the only way you get it out tax free is if you borrow out the money. But if they need life insurance anyway, they're going to pay for it additionally, right? Here they get their life insurance and, because of the tax advantages, be able to get that money out tax-free by either withdrawing up to the cost basis and then borrowing, or borrowing it straight out, depending on which is more advantageous, and each contract's going to be a little bit different. But this is a lot more attainable than this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, I haven't even talked about product with the actual client, right? I'm just showing them concepts. If we can get this money out tax-free. Now, we could do it with, what's the other tax-free vehicle that we could use? Roth IRA, right? The problem with the Roth IRA is what? Limits. There's limits as to how much I can put in, right? All right. So that's the first problem. So if I'm talking about somebody older, I may not be able to put enough in there to have $1 million. Okay, what's the other problem?
It's not liquid.
Yeah, it's not liquid. Okay. Means that before age 59 and a half, if I want to take out any money, what comes out first? Interest. Plus I have to pay a 10% early withdrawal penalty. Okay, so it's only tax-free after age 60. So is that a drawback? Yeah. What's the other problem?
Phases out with income.
It phases out with income. Okay, and whatever that number is, 147,000 or something or other, it starts phasing out. So not only is it limits as to how much you can put in, it phases out the more income you're making. Is that a drawback? Now, one little thing that I, talk about at all our boot camps and everything else, it's, if you were to say, or ask your client, if you wanted a qualified plan or non-qualified plan, just based on the terminology, what would most clients tell you they wanted?
Qualified.
Qualified. Okay? It sounds better, right? All right? If I was you, I would take qualified and non-qualified out of my vocabulary. What I would use is regulated and non-regulated. You want a regulated plan or a non-regulated plan? Now, which one do you think most prospects would tell you?
Unregulated.
Yeah. So you get that qualified and non-qualified out of your vocabulary and use regulated and non-regulated, because that's really what you're talking about. So, Mr. Prospect, if I could show you how to get $1 million, have $1 million when you retire and be able to get it out tax-free, would you like to be able to do that?
Sure.
Let's think about what I've accomplished with these concepts here. Did I get people to see how much they need to have for retirement? Mm-hmm. Did I build that need?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And by using their own numbers, do they understand it, or will they understand it? So now they see what they need to do or what they need to have. And by asking questions, does that make sense? If we can do that, is that what you want to do? Does that help them buy into each one of these things as we're going along? And that's the point. That's the point of a fact find, to really develop the need, but then make them want to do something about it. And so when we talked about life insurance, did they agree that they needed life insurance? If you do it the way we did it here. Then do they see how cash value life insurance works? And the things we did about the equity index products, did they understand that? And can see how valuable that equity index concept is. Now obviously, you can do the same thing with a whole life. If you think about it, I only used a 7% return on that, didn't I? Could that be a whole life? Yeah, with the dividend paying and everything else. That's the amazing part about it. The equity index products may do a little bit better, all right, but we don't know that. We don't know which product is going to be better long term. So can I basically accomplish the same thing with an equity or with a traditional whole life product? Yeah. And the presentation will be a little bit different, but if I said you could get 7% every year, let's think about it for a second. You remember that example where we used 10% and then lose 10% and gain 10% and gain 10%? Let's take that same $100,000 and say we gain 6%. Well, let's see, you say 5% a year. All right? In 3 years, how much money do we have? And we'll know. If we have 100, after the first year, we're going to have 105, right? Mm-hmm. After the second year, we're going to have 105. And 5% of 5,000 is what? $250? Something like that. So we're talking about we're going to have, at the end of the second year, we're going to have 110,250. Okay? At the end of the third year, we're going to have 115,000, $400 or something like that. Or $550, something like that. All right? Now, if you think about it, if we go back to that, let's see here. We said we're going to have 108 at the end of 3 years. Right? Here, in 119 at the end of 4 years. Right? First, second, third, fourth. First, second, third. So, and I'm not talking about fees or anything else that we actually didn't have 113. In the fourth year, we'd have about 121,000. And how much do we have in mutual funds? 119,000. See, that's what people don't understand, is when you start, they look at the 12, 14, 20% and everything else that you get some years, but one bad year, okay, can make a big difference. And now when you start taking off 1.5%, 2% in the annual fees every year, we're even less than 119, aren't we? So where's the justification for taking the risk in mutual funds when I get that type of return in a whole life product or in a good UL product? Does that make sense? Right. And see, when you do simple presentations like this, now it's easy for them to see, isn't it? Okay. Now, let me do a small commercial. Everything that we talked about here and much more, I have probably 40, 50 of these simple presentations that we use during our fact find. And it's to get the point across, to get them to buy in. And then we go through all the who, what, where, how, when, and why questions to get them thinking about their situation. And that's what we teach at our Advanced Fact-Finding Techniques live event. And we hold that every couple months. It's $887 or something like that if you sign up within a week or two of the boot camp or the live event. And normally we have an early bird special, which makes it a little over $600 or almost $700. So you get $200 off. I highly recommend it. I mean, we've had agents here that have been in the business 28 years, like Rick White, that has already come to 2 boot camps, found money management boot camps, and our fact-finding boot camp. And just absolutely loves it. And this guy is no slouch. He's a big producer. He was a former CFP. He's an RFC. He's got all sorts of credentials and stuff. And I mean, we have attorneys, accountants that have gotten into this business that come regularly to our boot camps. And most of them come more than once. Now, the beauty is if you come to a fact-finding live training event, you can come back as often as you like, as long as you tell us ahead of time, for free. Come back as often as you like, for free. So I highly recommend it. I really need to take a look at it. There's a reason why the RFC endorses us. You find there's all sorts of endorsements and articles about us in the RFC register, on Producers Web, Financial Journal, Sales Journal. I mean, we have some of the biggest names in the industry that endorse us, and really believe in what we're doing here, because we're trying to teach agents how to do it the right way. It's not about selling product, it's about helping people to enrich their financial lives. So I look forward to seeing you at our next live training event, and make it a great day.